Now at 5, after thunderstorms this morning, we have more thunderstorms and even some snow on the way, plus the winds. I'm going to break it down for you.
Those high winds bring down some power poles and cause outages in Jasper County. And
President Trump will address a joint session of Congress tonight as new tariffs spark fears of a trade war and price increases for Americans. I'm Erica Brown on Capitol Hill with more and how trade partners are responding.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
it's an early taste of spring weather. This is along 530 Road east of Pittsburgh, where runoff from the rain has filled low-lying areas, and more precipitation is ahead, possibly including snow. To top it off, we're expecting potentially damaging wind gusts. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The weather has already left some damage, leading to power outages. We're going to have more on that in a moment. But first, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, it's definitely turned out to be kind of a wild day. We had showers, we had thunderstorms this morning. Some of those on the stronger side. We didn't get anything severe, which is good, but now we're on the backside of the storm system. So more showers and thunderstorms as we go through the evening hours. We'll slide through the 50s, 40s, eventually into the 30s by 10 or 11 o'clock. The winds kind of calmed down this afternoon, but now they're really going to pick up now that we get on the backside. So we're going to have winds 40 to 50 and maybe gusting toward 55 at times, especially after midnight tonight. They stay super strong all the way through the daytime hours on Wednesday, and then they'll start to come down just a bit. So we have high wind warnings, southern counties, or also into southeastern Kansas, wind advisory, southern counties, and then a winter weather advisory from Joplin north, Fort Scott, Chanute north, due to some light snow later on tonight. Look at this big storm system. Look at the dry slot right through central Missouri. So now we're getting into the backside, and as that colder air filters in, then we'll see a transition over to snow. Right now we're dealing with scattered thunderstorms, and some of these storms could produce some small hail, so watch out for that as we go through the evening hours. Not expecting anything too strong or severe. So we got thunderstorms the next few hours, then a little bout of snow. We'll break it all down for you here in just a bit.
See you soon. The strong winds have already brought down multiple power poles on Hazel Avenue between Airport Drive and Fur Road in Jasper County. Forced a road closure and causing a power outage in that area. At last report, repair crews were still working to replace the damaged poles. Carthage Water and Electric doesn't currently list any outages. Authorities urged drivers to avoid that area while the repairs were underway. The National Weather Service is highlighting flood safety today during Severe Weather Preparedness Week. Amid the downpour of rain, the 4-state search and rescue chief wants to remind people that just 6 inches of swiftly moving water can knock someone off their feet, and a foot of water can sweep away some cars. The city of Miami's fire chief says because Miami tends to be flood prone, their department has done many water rescues in the past.
We can lose access to several thousands of our residents. So State Highway 125 will flood, and that adds 5 or 6 minutes at least to our response time to the south end of town. So when you're in an emergency, that 5 or 6 minutes could be super valuable.
According to weather.gov, floods kill more people in the U.S. each year than any other thunderstorm-related hazard. As weather warms up, some experts in Joplin want to remind you that more motorcyclists are going to be hitting the roads. The Missouri Department of Transportation reported 133 fatalities involving motorcyclists last year.
All the way around, making sure you're looking over your shoulder whenever you're going into another lane. Most people just look in their mirror and think that they're good. With motorcycles, it's a lot different, so you're gonna have to check your blind spots a lot more often when you're switching lanes. Just make sure you're looking out for everybody and not speeding.
With road conditions, adjust your riding based on road conditions with weather. But just the main thing is just to be aware that cars don't care about you. They won't see you. So just ride like you're invisible, because to them you are.
According to MoDOT, most crashes happen in urban areas. However, most fatal accidents happen in rural areas. Pittsburgh State University hosted its annual spring fair today. Companies gathered to connect with students of all majors and classifications. The Office of Career Development organized the events to give students the chance to network, explore internships, and pursue job opportunities.
Employers from all across the board. So every employer is going to represent each college in some way. So we have College of Arts and Science, there's employers here for them. College of Education, there's employers here for them. College of Technology and College of Business, all here to recruit for students within those colleges.
140 companies participated. President Trump is just hours away from speaking to the American people in his address to a joint session of Congress tonight. The president is expected to take a victory lap and highlight accomplishments from his first few weeks in office, while Democrats say the president is inflicting damage to the nation. Erica Brown has more details from Capitol Hill.
The White House says President Trump plans to focus much of his address to Congress on border security.
President Trump is deploying a multifaceted approach to ending migrant crime, sealing the southern border, repelling the invasion, and shutting down trafficking.
The president says drug trafficking, especially fentanyl, is one of the reasons for the newly implemented 25% tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico, and now 20% tariff on Chinese goods. All three announced plans for retaliatory tariffs, which will likely lead to higher prices.
We should be working together to ensure even greater prosperity for North Americans in a very uncertain and challenging world. This is a very dumb thing to do.
Trump responded to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, saying when he puts on a retaliatory tariff on the U.S., our reciprocal tariff will immediately increase by a like amount. Many Democratic lawmakers say they've asked fired government employees to be their guests at tonight's address as they condemn the new administration's efforts to slash the size of the government. Democrats say the president has failed to deliver on his promises.
In 1 month, grocery prices have gone up. Keeps going. Housing costs up. Measles cases up. Vladimir Putin's influence up.
Elon Musk, who has been leading the government downsizing effort, will also be in attendance tonight. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Michigan Senator Alyssa Slotkin will give the Democratic response tonight following the president's address. The Vatican says Pope Francis is breathing without a mask and ventilator after suffering 2 episodes of acute respiratory failure last night. Doctors say the 88-year-old's inflamed lungs are still giving him trouble as he battles pneumonia. The pontiff's prognosis remains guarded, meaning he's not out of danger. Still ahead, concerning about a spreading virus.
The measles outbreak is growing. I'm Karen Wall with what you need to know to keep you and your family safe.
Plus, the projection of obesity rates in the U.S. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, the CDC says it's in on the ground in Texas responding to the growing measles outbreak. Health officials are reporting nearly 160 cases of the highly contagious measles since late January. Karen Wah has more from Houston.
Measles is one of the most contagious infectious diseases.
If you have not been vaccinated and you are exposed to measles, you are almost 100% likely to get measles infection. And really your best protection against measles is to be vaccinated.
1 dose of the MMR vaccine is 93% effective. 2 doses, 97%. In the South Plains region of Texas, the measles have sickened nearly 160 people, most unvaccinated. A school-age child that was not vaccinated died last week.
There's this misconception that measles is the common cold. It's just a fever and runny nose. It can actually be much more severe than that. It can cause severe lung infections, severe brain infections. Before we had measles vaccines, you had kids who would develop deafness, blindness, permanent brain damage.
With measles so contagious, the Texas Department of State Health Services expects additional cases in outbreak areas and nearby communities.
Dr. Celine Gounder says some older adults should take notice.
If you were born after 1957 and got vaccinated before 1968, you may not have immunity from exposure to measles infection and may have received an older version of the vaccine that was not as effective. You are in a group that may want to get a booster, particularly if you are in an area that is experiencing an active measles outbreak.
And if you're not sure if you're immune to measles, try to track down your records. If you can't find them, Dr. Gounder says there's no harm in getting an extra dose of the measles vaccine to protect yourself. Karen Hua, CBS News, Houston.
The child who died last week from measles is the first U.S. death from measles in a decade. Researchers say more than half of adults and a third of children will be overweight or obese by 2050. A major worldwide study by The Lancet found that obesity has doubled over the past 3 decades, affecting more than 2.5 billion people. Perhaps most concerning, a surge in obesity among children, especially boys, with numbers predicted to rise drastically over the next 5 years. The study finds the U.S. ranks 3rd in the world for the number of overweight and obese adults, behind China and India, and predicts that ranking will be the same in 2050. And that is a look at today's health news. Still ahead, a wave of change.
Surfing is becoming more diverse. I'm Wendy Gillette in Osara, Costa Rica, with how the sport is now attracting all types around the world.
Plus, we still have more thunderstorms, extreme winds, and even a little bit of snow. I'm going to have those details coming up. Well, of course, a crazy day for us today. Thunderstorms during the morning hours. Some of those were on the strong side. Heavy amounts of rain. Now we have more thunderstorms, which are working into the region. You can kind of see the darker clouds on our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, temperatures slowly drop through the 50s, 40s into the 30s. Periods of showers and thunderstorms as we go through the evening. Nothing too strong or severe, but a few of them packing a little bit of a punch. Wind advisory in effect, Oklahoma, southwest Missouri, Arkansas, south of Joplin, and then high wind warning. And then we have a winter weather advisory for areas mainly north of I-44 as we get a little bit of light snow later on tonight. Temperatures still kind of mid 50s to lower 60s in our southern counties. The winds have really calmed down, but as soon as the edge of the backside of the system pushes in here in about 3 hours, the winds are really going to get moving. We're going to have gusts 40, upwards of 50, may hit 55 in spots, and then it stays super windy all day long tomorrow. They do slowly come down a bit as we get through the day. All right, rainfall amounts, so everybody in the green, at least an inch. Most of us 1 to 3 inches, and even some 4s and 5s once you get out across Montgomery County. And we have more showers and thunderstorms starting to work in over the past couple hours. You can see a little cluster, Greenfield and Mount Vernon. These stretch into northern parts of Newton County through Joplin. Again, nothing too strong, but there is some thunder and lightning, and there could be some very small hail contained in some of those little stronger storms. Whole storm system wrapping up, so now we're getting in the backside. Here's your dry slot right through central parts of Missouri, so this back edge will rotate through as we go through the overnight hours. Big storm system covers a ton of real estate. Let's go through time. Periods of showers and thunderstorms through the evening. Here's 8 p.m. Once we get past about 10 p.m. on the Kansas side, starting to transition over to snow. Temperatures are going to be above freezing, not anticipating much in the way of issues. Light snow continues into the morning hours, mainly Joplin north, and then we'll start to push out once we get into the morning. So really it's going to be kind of melting the entire time. I think most of us a trace, meaning a dusting. So if we look at our amounts, so usually I always say put your hand over the 1. So we're going to get a trace in most areas, but with some of those heavier bands, there could be a slushy inch across the region. But I'm not anticipating much in the way of issues on the roadways, which is good news. Get sunshine by noon, near 40, and I think most of us 42, 43 degrees tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, a little bit colder. We back down into the mid-20s. We get some mid and upper level clouds in here on Thursday, but we pop back into the mid-50s for afternoon highs. Very windy tomorrow, 34 to start, 40 by noon. High temp right around 43 degrees as we get into the afternoon hours. Let's go back to 56 on Thursday, back to 65 on Friday. Some showers once again as we head into Saturday. And again, we may have some slushy spots on the roads, but because the ground's so warm and the temperatures aren't getting very cold, I don't think we'll have many issues, but still be careful.
Yeah, we'll be glad not to deal with the snow, but here comes spring, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up, what you should know about artificial intelligence in your kids' toys. Topping today's Consumer Watch, artificial intelligence is in just about everything these days, including kids' toys. Developers showed off their latest creations at the International Toy Fair in New York this week. This is Snorble, an AI-powered companion that persuades children to go to bed. And Pixicade is a device that turns drawings into playable video games. Officials from both companies say they've listened to parents to keep their devices safe.
We're going to have to try to find a way to give them AI in a way that's not going to be limiting. At the same time, where are the safeguards? This is the era right now of parents and adults learning what is going to be the guardrails that we can impose on kids and how much we want to give them creative freedom versus how safe and how protected do we want to keep them.
That bedtime helper, Snorble, does not connect to Wi-Fi, and parents can control what features their child can use. Surfing used to be a sport most commonly associated with young white men. That's changing around the world, attracting all types of fans to surfing hotspots. Wendy's Gillette has today's Travel Tuesday from Nosara, Costa Rica.
Surf's up for Isabella Bonner, part of a new generation of surfers. She founded Black Surf Santa Cruz in Northern California in 2020.
I had just the stereotype in my head that Black folks don't surf. And it wasn't until 2020 that really changed, and I really wanted to challenge why that stereotype existed.
A recent industry report shows 40% of U.S. surfers are Black, Hispanic, or Asian, and 35% are women.
I think seeing more people that look like you in the water really kind of calls you to want to try something new yourself.
Surf destinations are seeing the transformation, including in the Maldives, not a country many associate with surfing. But with waves big enough for Justin Janssen Van Vuren, program manager of Tropic Surf at Gili Lankanfushi. At the resort, styled like a Robinson Crusoe Castaway Island with its wood overwater villas, offering views of more tranquil water, guests can get a taste of those waves.
Back in the day, it was primarily just a father thing or just a son thing, but it's nice to see families getting involved in surf sessions.
Surfing's growing diversity is also found here in Costa Rica, one of the world's best countries to participate in the sport.
I see more women. Families.
Tanayo Mataria Garcia runs a surf school at Sendero in the village of Nosara, a boutique hotel with outdoor showers overlooking a nature preserve, just steps away from a surfer's paradise on the Pacific.
Every day of the year we have a beautiful wave.
A couple hours south at Four Seasons Peninsula Papagayo, one of those where we stayed for a special rate, a boat delivers surfers to the waves.
Waiting for the big one.
Around the corner, we have great beginner waves, and just about 20 minutes away, we have Witches Rock.
The resort hosts the women-run school SurfX, which used to mostly cater to men.
We're seeing increasingly mother and daughter, and then a lot of all-girls trips as well.
And that spurred surf-oriented wellness, including the wipeout massage to soothe sore muscles, with monkeys supervising the hot tub, and a ninja surf flow class in the Shala high above the resort to improve stability and balance out of the water. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
The diversity report from the Surf Industry Members Association also shows white surfers made up 65% of the sport's population as recently as 2022. That has now dropped by 4%. A final check of the forecast up next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, an ocean mystery. How did the California wildfires damage something that can't burn? Then on KOAM News at 6, a closer look at area flood dangers and precautions we can all take. Plus, as motorcyclists try to raise awareness of road safety, one recounts a harrowing experience. And the Fairland boys basketball team prepares for a trip to the state tournament. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. You're going to want to stay in touch with KOAM's weather team, Doug Hetty, tonight because there are some more nasty weather potentially out there.
Yeah, we're going to have scattered showers and thunderstorms rotating through this evening and then switching over to a little bit of snow, especially after 10 or 11 p.m. High temp, 43 tomorrow. Weather graphics system locked up, so that's why you're
Blame it on the graphics. Blame it on the graphics. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6 and working graphics. Let's make it a great evening.